and look forward to the Draft Spectacular. Our biggest show of the year is coming up just 3 days from now, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. This year's going to be big.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
We got war room conversations locked in. Okay?
Whoa, what?
So we're going to be talking to people in war rooms throughout the evening. We have big giveaways on the horizon. The Draft Spectacular giveaways are always more than spectacular. They're stupendous.
Hell yeah.
And we have big name guests stopping by too. Surprises.
Ooh.
Surprises.
Might as well.
Aaron Rodgers will be there. Draft Spectacular Thursday. We will be talking. Yeah, that deserved a little bit more hype, a little bit more build-up, but we do have a confirmed guest of Aaron Rodgers stopping by. Cannot wait to chat with him. Obviously, the ever-toxic AJ Hawk might be live in studio, might be in the attic in Ohio, not 100% sure. Big giveaways more. I can't wait for it. I am pumped. Now, that being said, a lot has happened with the odds on who's going to get drafted number one overall from Friday to today, from yesterday to this morning almost. You know, everybody had Aiden Hutchinson being a lock to be the number one overall pick since the beginning of this entire draft season had began. But this weekend, the odds at FanDuel Sportsbook have changed immensely. Now, Travon Walker out of the University of Georgia, heavily favored to go number one overall. Aiden Hutchinson, second highest odds to go number one overall. That's mighty. That's big. What does FanDuel know that we don't know? Well, we'll ask. John Sheeran, an Irish fella. He's the head odds maker for FanDuel Sportsbook. As we saw this, he's been on Hammer Dahn before. Actually, a pretty clever guy.
Yeah.
Now, he is the person that we are competing against every single fucking day to take their money in FanDuel. He's the head odds maker, the head bookmaker. He's the guy that's deciding where's going what, and it's his team that put this particular. Who did they talk to? What do they know? Or are they just trying to read the tea leaves like the rest of us? FanDuel Sportsbook's odds this morning, we woke up. Travon Walker, favored to go number one overall over Aiden Hutchinson. What is this? Why is this? They're obviously not trying to lose money. They have to have some piece of information. What are you hearing? Is there about to be a big-time shakeup? Is Jacksonville potentially trading out? Is somebody looking to trade in and get Travon Walker? How do you see this all working out?
So I don't think Jacksonville is going to be able to trade out. I think they would like to. I think, to me, like from 1 to 5 or even 6, everybody would like to trade out because the picks are all kind of similar value. So if you get someone to give you like an extra 2 or an extra 3, like you might want to do that and get a somewhat similar player. I don't think anyone's going to do that. There's no quarterback to come up for. So I think the Jaguars are going to pick. Today, and it's tough for me to know why the odds changed so dramatically. This is not exactly my world, but Peter King wrote in his mock that could be something crazy, could be Travon Walker, which I would say, I'm not sure how crazy that is, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the pick also. I know they're down to 4. I know they're considering Hutchinson, they're considering Walker, but look at Trent Baalke's profile. Has some traits that Aldon Smith had as well. That kind of makes sense. So then he writes that, then everyone talks about it, and the odds changed a lot. Like, I thought that was a pretty interesting
Peter King swung this thing?
Whoa.
Is that what you're saying? We'll ask
What's
John.
that?
We'll talk to John Sheeran, the head odds maker for FanDuel, in the third hour. You're thinking maybe Peter King swung this thing?
I was thinking maybe, yeah, because that makes sense. Like a big right at the top of Monday, you know, like that would make some sense.
He's got the big
we've talked about
stick.
Travon Walker going 1 before. Maybe the odds makers haven't been paying attention to the Pat McAfee Show. You have to ask him in the third hour, but just saying.
Hey, you say you've been talking about this for a long time. What are the final 4? Travon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Jordan Davis?
No, I think it is Ekwonu, Evan Neal, Hutchinson, and Travon Walker. I believe those are the 4. Those seem to be the 4 with the highest grades on most boards.
Okay, so Evan Neal came into the conversation. He wasn't in a couple people's top 10s last week, I don't think, and I was very surprised by that. You think that a lot of people have Icky ahead of Evan Neal in that particular department, and is that who a team who's looking at the offensive line is probably going to end up grabbing, or is everybody literally split on this? And how the hell does anybody know what anybody's going to do? You know, like nobody has a clue what anybody's going to do at this point, right?
Right. I mean, that's what so the draft is great, right? Because at least for me, because what happens is my phone blows up like never before because everyone wants to know like what's the rumors, who's taking who. And reality is, like,
popular.
I know some things, but I don't 100% know. Nobody really does. And you mentioned the tackle, so it's somewhat split on Ekwonu and Neal. I get the sense Ekwonu's maybe a small bit higher. Neal's body's a little banged up. It's nothing concerning, but just a little bit. He's an Alabama player. That can happen. He's got good position flexibility, but it seems like Ekwonu is a little more of maybe the higher ceiling. So maybe he goes earlier and Neal goes, probably within the top 6 is my guess.
Who do you know? What do you know about the first overall pick in the draft? Because this was startling numbers. We saw this literally as we woke up this morning on Friday. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson, minus 175 to go number 1 overall, has been the favorite to go number 1 overall by everybody since this entire draft season has begun. Minus 175, pretty good favorite, by the way. That's pretty good, feel pretty good about it. Travon Walker, plus 165. Now we wake up this morning, Travon Walker, minus 155 to go number 1 overall. Aiden Hutchinson now plus money to go number 1 overall. What the hell happened? Who do you know? And how is this information figured out and calculated in your end of this entire world?
So just to the last point first, right? The hardest thing for us is to form a really strong opinion, have a lot of confidence in the market and the price that we offer on any of these selections. The limits are reasonably low. Our confidence is equally low when it comes to being certain around what these positions will do and where certain teams will look to, Pat. So when we initially launched this market back in March and added Travon Walker, he was 30-1 to be the number 1 pick in the draft this year. As you said, Hutchinson's been a strong favorite since then. But overnight, we saw a real rush of really what I would say is respected money for Travon Walker. And normally with these markets, when you see a rush of money like this, it tends to tell a bigger story than even the bets themselves. So I would pay a lot of respect to the idea that Travon Walker will be the first pick on Thursday.
Who's respected money? I'm sorry, AJ was about to go there. Respected money is just because they talk about sharps, I'm sorry. And in your eyes, you guys know who the sharps are. You have to know who the sharps are. It's like, these motherfuckers seem to know something more than anybody else. And you're watching. And it's like, at what point do you have to balance that reaction to them? Is that always?
Yeah, I think it's about knowing how strong your opinion is and how valid it is, Pat. In an NFL week, as I said to Tone on that secondary show that you have, all season long, all season long, we're happy to stand up against the sharps where we feel like we have an advantage, where we feel like we have a strong opinion and understand where they're coming from. The draft and the number 1 pick and what certain teams will do in certain spots is certainly not one of those positions. So like I said, we'll pay more attention to the money that we see, the information that we garner from those bets when they come in. And to answer your question, who the sharps are, these are accounts that historically have proven over time that they're able to beat us and win money off us. And that's effectively this type of money that we saw for Travon Walker last night.